And welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Kamala's embattled running mate Tim Walz is facing fresh new scrutiny over a military career. He is credibly accused of embellishing for political gain. Claims of stolen valor and downright lying, well, they're getting so much traction. The Harris campaign had to change his bio, and full details are coming up straight ahead. Also, former Congresswoman, you won't believe this story, Tulsi Gabbard, she also served in the military, reportedly put on a government terrorist watch list. More weaponization of our Justice Department. Under Biden and Harris, your federal government is completely out of control. Tulsi will join us in a moment. She'll respond to the egregious abuse of power. This is madness. But first, a moment of bravery from Kamala Harris. As she likes to say, this.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
What can be
unburdened by what has been.
What can be
unburdened by what has been.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has been.
Let us remain focused on what many of you have heard me say all the time. Let us remain focused on what can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. The vice president anxiously walked, toward her doting fans and the media mob for a little over a minute. And wow, without any help from a teleprompter. And somehow she managed to talk ever so briefly to the state-run Pravda media mob. Now, it was only the second time since her coronation that Kamala actually summoned a little courage to speak off script, and the very first time she has answered any questions about her campaign. But don't expect to see much from the vice president off a script moving forward. Kamala said she might participate in one sit-down interview sometime before the end of the month, probably with the conspiracy theorist Rachel Maddow, if we're lucky. Take a look.
There's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since being the nominee.
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
Great job. What can be. It's August the 8th. So let's get this straight. She's going to need total, 7 weeks of preparation for one interview, one press conference, one gaggle? Why not sit down for an entire interview tomorrow? I guess she's not capable. According to the Daily Mail, Kamala's latest solo press conference was on December 2nd, 2023. And that one wasn't very long. That was a whopping 12 minutes, and she took 6 questions. Probably she knew about them in advance. Now, of course, a lot has happened since December of 2023, but Kamala has been unable or unwilling to answer any questions until today, if you consider that answering questions. Her unscripted and uncomfortable minute of dialogue today was not by choice. Over the past week, Kamala has been humiliated by both Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. In fact, the first person to take questions from Kamala's press pool, well, that was actually J.D. Vance on the tarmac right there in front of Air Force Two, while Kamala just was a few yards away. She was busy. Now, get this. A few hours before Kamala's minute-long Q&A, former President Donald Trump, he conducted an hour-plus long press conference where he answered questions pretty much about everything under the sun, had this to say about his opponent. Take a look.
She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before.
I've never felt that much danger as we feel now. If Kamala wants to silence critics, well, she could step up to the podium, answer questions for an hour. Most everyone in the state-run media mob's a Harris supporter, so there's really nothing stopping her. It's not like she's busy fixing the border or stopping inflation or lowering energy prices. She hasn't lifted a finger to reduce violent crime, gas prices through the roof, or finding a solution to wars overseas. Like Joe Biden, she barely does one event per day. The rest of the day, she's hiding in the equivalent of Joe Biden's basement, and they're covering for her like they did for Biden in 2020. And yet, for some reason, grinning from ear to ear, and when she has the moment, giggling, and announcing today that she just loves hard work, loves it. Look.
You know, the one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work.
work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Because we know what we stand for.
Well, her very own staff, they paint a very different picture. Quote, Kamala Harris is a clueless bully who refuses to do her homework. Remember 90% turnover rate? But there's also another reason Kamala is unwilling to speak off script. She is running from her own radical, extreme, dangerous, deadly in some cases, record. Now, both Kamala and her socialist running mate, they have taken the most radical positions on literally everything. They're getting a pass from the state-run Pravda media mob, but they want to ban fracking and drilling. They want to defund the police, dismantle it, reimagine it. They want to abolish ICE. She compared it to the KKK. They want to totally decriminalize all illegal immigration. They support open borders and free education, health care, housing, and driver's licenses for illegals. They support the insane $93 trillion Green New Deal, the redistribution of wealth scam of all scams, in favor of raising taxes 70 to 80%. They support gun confiscation. They want to protect, sex change surgeries and puberty blockers for young kids, even without parental consent in the case of Walz. They want to criminalize speech that they find uncomfortable. They have supported all of these insane policies for years. Abortion up to the moment of birth, no problem. In fact, according to FoxNews.com, Walz even supported a plan to curb Social Security payments and increase the retirement age. Meanwhile, Donald Trump wants to end taxing people on Social Security, said he won't ever cut Social Security, and he won't tax tips for workers. So she's going after old people, and she thinks if you're 18 to 24, you're dumb, really dumb. That's why they put you in dormitories with RAs. Now, it's a different story for Harris and Walz, only now they have suddenly and miraculously experienced what we call an election year conversion. Or at least that's what their staffers are saying behind closed doors. Now, Kamala won't actually say where she's standing on all the controversial issues she's taken in the past. Now, if she says she changed them, that would mean she changed them only when she was becoming or became the presumptive Democratic nominee. That would be a completely dishonest lie election year conversion. Her positions are not even listed on her campaign website. Very unprecedented. And speaking of the campaign website, only a few days after her running mate was accused of embellishing his service in the National Guard, well, the Harris campaign, they were now forced to change Walz's biography to reflect the true story. Now, many of those that have served with Walz, they're accusing him of stolen valor, serious charge for inflating his rank, pretending that he was deployed to a combat zone with a gun that, should never be used outside of war zones, that he wanted to take away from law-abiding citizens. In reality, Walz quickly retired shortly before his platoon was scheduled to deploy to Iraq, even though he had already signed on to serve for 2 more years. We'll have a lot more on this coming up later in the show. Now, unfortunately, this is a story you're not going to hear about on the other so-called news outlets. Do you remember why Dan Rather was given the exit door over at fake news CBS? Remember that whole story? Remember the coverage of the National Guard and George W. Bush? Their reporting was wrong. It looks like, based on them changing the website, everybody else has the story right, except the media won't cover it. Instead, what are we getting? Coverage from this, like from Politico. Quote, male politicians, they're usually terrible at dressing down, but Tim Walz is one of the few that can actually pull it off. And this report titled, quote, Tim Walz was my teacher 20 years ago. Here's what I learned. Here's one glowing caption from that article, quote, Walz didn't overload his students with burdensome homework. He challenged them in other ways, forcing them to wrestle with issues like the Cambodian genocide and how the French government treated Muslim citizens. Now, despite all this fawning media coverage, and it's pretty much everywhere, well, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are still dodging the press. It's not a good look for a pair of far-left politicians who have yet to receive a single primary vote. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.